We're back with our good friend Dave Nemo. That's the reason why it's called Nemo Nation. Nemo Nation, Nemo Nation, Nemo Nation. Hey, Dave, you got a little guest for us, don't you?
Tony Sciarotta is joining us, and he is not in New Orleans, but he loves New Orleans.
He's got a New Orleans name. That's a New Orleans name, man. Yeah, I was hanging out with Tony Sciarotta, over at Tony Angelo's, and we were hanging out down in the French Quarters.
Yeah, for sure, man. But he knows the Degas House. He knows Esplanade. We are here. So, Tony, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Dave. Thank you very much. Good to talk with you again, sir, especially with you based in New Orleans. That's so much fun.
We're kind of ganging up on you here. We got Jimmy Mac right here.
Hey, man, good morning, Tony. Good to have you, man. Dave told me he got you on because, we do a lot of the programming in advance, and so we had a final 30 minutes. We've been tweaking with the programming, and I said, well, Dave, we're still looking for somebody for the last 30 minutes. We got a couple of options. He said, you know what? Don't give me the options. I got a guy. And so you're the guy that he got. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Nemo Nation.
Thank you, Jimmy, and the fact that I'm Italian, I won't let that bother me at all. I got a guy. I love that.
I got a guy.
Goodness. Well, the guy we got is the executive director of the Reverse Logistics Association and also the publisher of the magazine. And, of course, the magazine is shortened down to RL Magazine. And one of the things that we kind of bounced around, and we can talk about anything you want to get into, Tony, here, but tariffs have been part and parcel of trucking conversation now for the past several months. The ups and downs, and you wake up every morning, you don't know exactly where the tariffs are or how high they are or how low they are. That is disrupting trucking. And I thought, wow, it's disrupting the incoming. What about the outgoing? Yep. Because you guys must have just been, holy cow, what next, right? So maybe you could take it from here and then you have another thing about where are things being returned to now?
Yep. Hey, Dave, keep it fair. One at a time.
Where were you on the night of the 13th?
Yeah. So, Tony, I tell you what, since you're here and since you're our friend and our guest, why don't you start someplace safe and see where the road takes you, okay?
Okay, Jimmy, thank you. And Dave, always good to touch base here. And so there are the two big issues that we're going to touch base on today. But number one is what's the tariff situation in terms of what it's doing to trucking in terms of looking at the reverse logistics world. And Dave and Jimmy, it's really interesting because if you think about it, return goods, which are probably $1 trillion worth of retail value product in the United States alone. $1 trillion of goods being returned. A lot of it goes back on the shelf to sell, but a lot of it gets sold into what we call the secondary market. And you know what? There's none of there. There's no tariffs in the secondary market. Return goods do not have tariffs. So suddenly, return goods are being moved a little closer and a little faster because they can be resold now at a higher value because tariffs on new goods coming in affects the pricing of goods coming in from other countries, of course. But once it's in this country and it's sold and it's returned, it's fair game to be sold again and tariffs don't impact it.
Sort of a hidden value then, in a sense.
Dave, that's exactly the word we use with the secondary market. It always represents a great value.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, Dave and Jimmy, if you go to stores like a TJ Maxx even, or Ollie's Bargain Hunt, things like this, they always show a price tag that says compare to new. And new might sell for $99, whereas they're selling it for $59 or $69.
Tony?
So there's always that comparison.
Tony, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second because, man,
Sure.
you have just shed clarity on a situation. So I had to get a pair of pants for a party I was going to this weekend, and when I tell you, I went to the plunder raid that was Burlington Coat Factory. I was looking at those prices, and I'm like, compared to what they are over at Dillard's, compared to what they are at Macy's, this is like the
Yeah.
bottom has dropped out. That now I understand why. Now I understand why the same belt cost $45 in one place, and they're like, compare this to Dillard's, where it is now only $10 here. Is that what's happening?
A little bit, because in the past, let's be honest, a lot of this stuff was being trucked to a landfill or to a waste dump or to liquidation, bottom feeders, as we call them. And, because you didn't want to spend money on things that have been returned. You just wanted to get rid of it as a retailer. And now they're starting to recognize, hey, this can be resold and reused and repurposed into that. We call it the circular economy, Dave. I've used that word
Oh, yeah,
before.
you've talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important aspect of what trucking is all about. It's we like moving stuff, and everything moves by truck basically in this country, right? We like moving stuff, but the less amount of movement we have on any given product, and on forward logistics, and Dave and Jimmy, you guys may know these statistics. The forward side from factory to us buying something in the store is an average of 7 touch points. But on the return side, it was usually 2 to 3 times that number of touch points, because it has to be sorted. It has to be dispositioned. Someone has to decide, what are we going to do with this belt that came back, or this jacket, or this television set, etc. So it involved multiple touch points. And of course, that's a lot of movement that is unnecessary movement. So if you can cut down the number of touch points and do something with it right where it comes back, or at least only move it once and then sell it to another customer, that's ideal. Now, we have enough work for truckers, so I'm not trying to tell truckers we're not going to have enough goods for you to move. There'll still be plenty of that. But we want to shorten the number of stops that happens with return goods.
It sets up a situation where this may be. I'm asking a question I don't know the answer to. This isn't me being like, I have a thought that I want you to affirm. I genuinely want to know this. Are we talking about that tariffs offer the possibility of an emerging market here? Is that what we're discussing?
Well, the market is there already. The secondary market, again, end of life products, seasonal products, they go to a secondary marketplace. Again, not the primary retailers, but these secondary retailers, and online, by the way. A lot of this happens online, the e-commerce space. A lot of these things are being bought in bulk, a truckload. And there's the infamous one about the bin stores, where they literally buy truckloads of returns, put these Gaylord pallets inside a storefront, and people line up to go for the deals. And again, that lessens the number of touch points. Once it's in a pallet in a big box in Gaylord, and you put it in the store, that's as short a run as you can get. So those goods all represent great values, because the retailers want to get rid of it quickly, but they also want to protect the brand. So there's a lot of complicated pieces of this puzzle, but ultimately the goal here is to create this secondary market, make it bigger, and we're starting to see terms like pre-loved, pre-owned, certified.
Yeah.
Pre-loved. You like that one, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, at least it isn't saying existed in. That would be a bad thing. Sweated in. Rolled around in the dirt in. I like pre-loved better. Pre-loved works.
I like pre-loved too.
Only worn once on the way to church on Sunday.
I'll tell you this, guys. Though, over at Burlington Coat Factory, I kid you not, Tony. One thing I would say, that I ended up having to go buy something from J.C. Penney's ultimately, and the reason I did was I was willing to spend the extra $20 because I was no longer willing to wait in line in a giant maze of like impulse buy shelves. It was brutal. I mean, the people at Burlington on Saturday, it went into the aisles. The line was so long of people.
You went to the one on Veterans?
I went on Veterans.
Yeah.
It's like most Isleys. It's a hive of scum and villainy. It's just crazy.
Well,
go ahead, Tony.
I absolutely agree with you that there are challenges there, but imagine, like I said, waiting in line for a bin store to open up on a Thursday morning where everything, the first class stuff that the trucks moved back to these stores. And it really is true. I mean, it's basically a forklift unloading a 26 pallet truck, putting it in the store, and on Thursday, it might be $10 an item. And you line up because the best stuff is on Thursday. And then Friday, it might go to $9 an item. Saturday, $8 an item. Sunday, and so on. So it's an amazing, and people line up for that, Jimmy. They line up like they do at Burlington and others. It's just amazing because these are recognized values, as Dave said. They're definitely values. But here's the key, too. The retailers are getting more for it now than they used to because they know these stores are doing this stuff with it. And it's really about, so it's reverse logistics, it's the circular economy, it's repurposing so this stuff doesn't end up in landfills. And I'd love our trucks to be carrying products that can be resold rather than products that go to landfill. And
it's Black Friday all year long, baby. Black Friday all year long. Line it up and scoop it up, man. Awesome.
Tony, one of the things that I have observed, and I'm not the only person that has said this, of course, that COVID, going back there, didn't really change anything. It just accelerated things that were already in play. So, and I don't want to belabor the whole tariff thing because the tariff thing is not going to last forever. Is the tariff sort of a jump start for what you're talking about here in a sense? Because the tariffs are going to go away, but the market will be there once it's gone, once the tariffs are gone.
Well, Dave, I mean, we've been around a while, and we've seen prices go up. It's rare that prices come back down, even if the tariffs go away. Will the prices come back down significantly? Maybe, maybe not, right? And so this secondary market that you're talking about, and I understand the surveys indicate that the younger people are very open to buying pre-loved merchandise and so on. So it will accelerate that secondary market, absolutely, because, and then the economy is a little bit of a roller coaster right now, right? And so people look for values when the economy gets a little bit of a roller coaster, and they'll go to these stores. I mean, Goodwill's an example of the original circular economy store. You and I may drop things off there that we no longer use. Someone goes in a Goodwill store and they pick it up for pennies on a dollar.
Tony, this new format literally has us hurtling through time and space, and we're just kind of having people come in. You actually got the longest segment here on Nemo Nation of the entire morning because we felt what you had to say was so important. Where can people find you, Tony? How can they find out more about you and get all your socials and all that groovy stuff?
Well, Tony Sciarotta is pretty unique on LinkedIn because my last name is nothing like it sounds. It's Sciarrotta. So finding Tony Sciarotta on LinkedIn is pretty easy. The other aspect, if you're in business, is rla.org. Our website for the Reverse Logistics Association is that simple, rla.org, and we're all there, as well as many of our members and our partners who are doing this kind of business in that secondary space and who are moving these goods. So those are the two best ways to find me, folks, the LinkedIn and on the website.
I'll make you feel better, Tony, and Dave will back me up. When he told me you were coming on the show, he said, I bet you don't know how to spell that. I spelled it perfectly. That's because I'm a New Orleanian, dude. That's because I'm a New Orleanian.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, he got Tony right, but he didn't get Anthony.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Tony, thank you so much, man. We can't wait to get you back on Nemo Nation. Thank you, brother.
You got it. Thank you, guys.